Good morning, good morning. Ah, it's 12:30. Good afternoon. I've been gonna do this live since 9 a.m. Shit keeps happening.
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
I'm pretty on fire today. I'm pretty passionate about the work I do. Oh. I want to say you and I both know mistakes we make within society standards can be debilitating. I think it's one of our greatest fears is what society thinks, the neighbors think, the community thinks, the town thinks. I remember, oh, you're gonna love this, little missy. Just hang in there. I remember working at the bank and I was in the management training program and they sent me every 30, 60, 90 days to a different department. I was in the credit card department. And those gals were so...
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
They spent probably 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour every morning researching the paper, finding the scoop on who got arrested and who was in trouble and who was going through bankruptcy and just all this bullshit. An hour, employees, probably 10 of them, reading the papers and gossiping about what went south last night. I was in a spiritual circle where there were strong teachings on gossip and judgment and criticism and condemnation and all this stuff. So me observing these women in this environment was yucky. So I'm going to get to my point today. Y'all, stop criticizing and judging the young people that you run onto. You know, you hear it all the time. Their head's in their phone. Their head's in a device. They're such a smartass. They're this, they're that, they're this, they're that. Like, you got it all figured out. Like, I got it all figured out. So one of my programs is Youth Elevated. And in that program, we bring young people into the circle. Now, I don't just get to talk to young people without talking to their parents first, right? And I let the parents know what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and how it works. And then my first visit with the young person, I have a parent in the room. All is recorded. I told the young man last night, 14, I was like, I record everything because I like to cover my butt. I don't want no youngster throwing me under the bus. Saying I said something that I didn't say, or he took it the wrong way, or she took it the wrong way, right? I record everything. So last night, oh, this beautiful 14-year-old, oh, beautiful, the brightest eyes, I got to visit with, and we started out with Dad in the room. And I went over some of the things that I had talked to his parents about, like bird nest syndrome. What you guys aren't understanding when you're raising teens around 10, 11, 12, they start to get on the edge of the nest and they start flapping them wings. And the parents are like, son, you got no feathers. Do not jump out of the nest. You got no feathers. You will splat. Now, he got tickled when I explained to him what I had explained to his parents. I was like, you need to know that. That's why your parents are so protective about you expanding and flapping your wings and going out into the world. You ain't got no feathers. Do you see that? And he was like, yeah. I said, then about, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and stuff, you start getting feathers. And the parents are like, thank God, finally we got some feathers. He or she could actually fly out of the nest and fly back in the nest and fly out of the nest and back into the nest. I also explained to him, like, at 10 years old, you start to develop your own way of living, your own thinking, your own perspective and such. And he loved that. He used the word perspective a lot. My perspective is, guys, I got to talk to him about his spiritual beliefs. I said, when I use the word God, and I want you to know this, it's all inclusive, right? The God of my understanding is all inclusive. The energies of all those that have gone before us, the energy of a higher power that lives within us and that we can call upon. And I told him I would teach him how to do that. He shared with me that he was highly sensitive. I get to ask a million questions, and you know I love that. I'm like, what do you mean, and how did you know that, and when did you know that, right? I get so excited about their perspective, and they love that. He said, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and he had talked to his sister about it, and his sister explained to him that he might be highly sensitive. I said, well, what does it mean to you to be highly sensitive? Like, how does that affect you? And he was like, I can feel people's pain. Like, I can feel their feelings. I can feel their anger easily. I can feel their love easily, right? Oh, he was so good at explaining his perspective and how he sees that. When we talked about spirituality, I mentioned a few things like higher power, God of my understanding, what else? Universe, source. I had a whole list, right? And he said, like, Buddhism, and I said, yes, I'm open to all spiritual teachings, right? It doesn't mean that I incorporate all of them into my life or that I resonate with the teachings, but I'm open to listening to it, right? Lovey. Did you see her? I'm open to listening to all the perspectives, and some I incorporate and some I let go of, right? He was really cool about that. I love Native American teachings. I love Eastern Indian teachings. Angela and her moon teachings has been life-changing for me. You guys, I know you tagged her here, but y'all follow Angela Kay. Her moon teachings are amazing. And so I'm open to all that, and I talk to the kids about all that too, and they love it, and they talk to me about things that they've learned too. But here's the deal. Before we finished our conversation, I said, can I ask you what is the most intimidating or the most fearful, besides coming on and talking to a total stranger about all your stuff and things? I was like, there's no teenager alive that says, yes, Mom and Dad, I would love to get online and talk to a total stranger about all my stuff and things. And I told him that. I said, I told your parents that, and I'm telling you that. I know nobody wants to do that. And also, no adult wants to do that initially, right? Until you get the hang of it, until you get the hang of sharing and being open and being willing to test out some things and play with some things. It's not fun. After that, it's freaking addictive. Like, I love talking to coaches and embracing coaches and learning all of their, yes, Angela, you're very welcome. I appreciate you so much as well. I appreciate your teaching so much about the moon. Y'all connect with Angela about the moon. It's really, really interesting. And I call it ancient medicine, right? It's what we used many, many, many moons ago to better understand ourselves and our vibrations and how we're feeling on this Mother Earth. So it's important. And I want all of you to open up, right? Open up and lay down judgment and condemnation and fear-based. Oh, that's kind of spookity. Whatever. You're safe. You're perfectly capable of taking in and resonating with information that you love, or laying down information that doesn't resonate with you. You're all grown up. You can do it. So back to the youngster. I asked him before we got off the phone, what is intimidating and what is fearful about doing this with me? And he said, honestly, I think it's the mistakes I've already made. He's 14, and he's worried about the mistakes he's already made. If you're making a young person feel like that, that's fucked up.
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
You need to come into a room or sit at the table with a young person, and you need to know that it is very possible they know way more than you. You need to consider when you sit with a young person that they have real knowledge to share with you and that they were born that way. He's worried about the mistakes he's already made at 14 years old. I said, let me tell you something, and I'm so excited to share this with you. In my program, I teach you how to celebrate mistakes. I'm teaching that to adults, but I also teach it to youth. Celebrate your mistakes. I'm going to teach you how to celebrate your mistakes, to honor them and respect them and love them, because they take you to that very next level. I'm going to tell you something. When I was 45, I sat in a spiritual circle that asked me to be honest about any mistakes that I had made. And I made a mistake when I was 18 that I had never shared with anyone. And when my spiritual circle asked me to step up and talk about that mistake, I didn't. Why? It's a safe space. I didn't give a shit. They could tell me it was safe all day long. I wasn't telling that secret. It was 4 years later. 4 years later, they asked me again to share any mistakes that I had made. And they would show me how to process that. Finally, I said it. And over in my private group, private for a reason, because all of America doesn't need to know my stories. I get over there in the private group and share with you private things that will help you better understand what's holding you back and making you fearful in life. Let's Human, Miracles and Mojo, get in that private group. And this weekend, I'm going to do a video series of 4 that teaches us how to, one of the teachings is how to embrace mistakes. Mistakes, how to celebrate them. And further, how to make amends, not to other people. And I told the little 14-year-old last night, we don't say I'm sorry, because I ain't sorry. I'm a good person. I don't use I'm sorry. I use make amends. But the first person that I make amends to is moi. I thoroughly understand my mistake. I write it down. And for that, I apologize. Apologizing to myself is big. And one of my clients wrote and she was like, oh my God, my soul has never felt so good in processing all these mistakes that I made over the years. I'm like, I know. Your soul gets happy when you admit your mistakes and you're not embarrassed. You're not shamed. You're not blamed. We are human. And we're going to make mistakes. And when we learn to celebrate them, write them down, apologize, right? I apologize for that. And then what else? We come up with plan B. What I will do going forward if I'm put in that same predicament. Because an apology without a plan B is master manipulation. You know that cycle in a marriage where they say, I'm sorry, and then they go away, and then 6 weeks later they come back and do the same damn thing. That's because they're caught up in a cycle, a pattern that pulls them in and triggers them, and they have no freaking tools to do it differently. That's what I'm providing you today, and also in Let's Human, Miracles and Mojo with my teachings. Tools that you can use to change those patterns and stop apologizing and repeating, but apologize and go to plan B. You have a formula to change the patterns, to incorporate change in your personal life, your being. And you can't imagine how core self-esteem naturally rises when you feel good about you. And that, my friends, is all that ever matters. I want that baby boy, 14, headed into adulthood, designing his own life, not needing his parents anymore as of today, age 14, other than shelter and food. He's already been taught by his parents. He's ready. Now he just needs tools. Tools for processing the wobbly stuff. And we all have wobbly stuff. I love you big. Mwah! God, I love you guys being on here and supporting me. And I love you big. And I love your teachings. And I'll see you soon. This is Theresa. Get your butt over there and let's human. Miracles and Mojo, where I can be and share more and more of me and how this works. Love you big. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, thanks. I just got my nails done. Love you big. This is Theresa, signing off.